1, 2, 3.
Ooh, we are very wrong on a lot of things. We're back. This is another episode of Chill Filters, the Reentry Buzz. This is season 3. This is episode 7. The score or the record so far this season is Cole has 1 point or 1 episode. There's 3 ties already this season, and then Bryan has 2. So Bryan's up if he doesn't lose to the ties, but we'll still consider him winning if there are more ties to come. But that's how it goes. You know how it goes. It's a special blind tasting competition. We like to make our notes. We like to make our guesses. And we score it based on that. So here we go. Let's do the old sniff and sip. That's right, listeners. We sniff, we sip, we say how much we'd pay just based on 1 sniff, 1 sip, and then we take our notes after that. So here we go.
Ooh, interesting. Huh.
That's weird.
Yeah. That is weird. How much would you pay for this?
$20.
I think I'm closer to 30 or 40, but it's
okay.
I'll say 30 actually.
Okay.
30 is pretty much, yeah.
Not crazy great. But before we go into the notes and the guesses, we'll take a quick break. This is an interesting one. Not great, in my humble opinion. But let's talk about some notes. First, I'm going to get to my notes. On the nose, I said sweet, white sugar sweet, almost a floral note, but slightest of berries. But honestly, not too definitive on notes. I was kind of reaching for some of those. Palate, this might sound a little mean. I said first notes were of an American single malt. Youthiness to this. Not a very impressive palate, but leaning slightly towards bourbon here. Reminds me of a smaller, newer distillery that putting out what they consider to be one of their well-aged products.
I like that.
You know how that goes, where it's like, you put out your like not well-aged products and you're like, hey, this is what we do as a smaller distillery. But this is one of those ones where they're like, we're really proud of this one.
This is the distiller's reserve.
Exactly. Yeah. For a smaller, newer distiller, it's the distiller's reserve. On the finish, I said synthetic chocolate with slight fruitiness. Not pleasant in general, a little too young. That's all I said. What did you say on the notes?
You know, as these episodes go by, I'm impressed with how
we do pretty well.
Our tasting notes are on things.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So on the nose, I said light red fruit, then very
like I said, yeah.
Light red fruit, then very malty, dusty, dry oak.
That's a good point.
And I actually thought it was a Scotch at first. Just first nosing.
Scotch is aged 3 years. This ain't aged 3 years.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Might be wrong.
On the palate, I said it was a light and thin palate strawberry milkshake.
Ooh, that makes sense. That's a really good note.
Fruit.
Yeah.
Finish, I said chocolate malt and Tootsie Rolls. So I love that you said
good point. Synthetic chocolate, baby.
Yeah. Dry, dusty Tootsie Rolls. All right. You want me to do my guesses?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So type, I went ahead and said rye.
Ooh.
The fruity, the strawberry. I couldn't get over it. I don't think you get that if it's not a rye. So this will either I'll be correct or it'll blow my mind. So secondary grain, I said malty bees because this is very malty. So I do think I don't think this is 95.5. I think the malty bees is way higher than 5.
Yeah.
Distillery, I said hard truth. This hits me sentimentally, where I've had samples of hard truth before, and I think this is just kind of in line with how good I remember hard truth being.
Yeah.
So for proof, I said 100. I think it's straight middle of the road. It has a little bit of proof, but it's also very, very light on the back end. So I kind of tried to stay in the middle. age, I said 4 because I
Ooh,
specifically called out a dry, dusty oak in my nose notes. So
true.
I want this to have a couple of years on it. Finished, I said no. Bottle, I said hard truth chocolate malt. I know they have like a
Ooh,
chocolate malty thing, and fingers crossed. I don't know, whatever.
yeah.
But for
Score.
score, I said D plus. I
Okay.
think this is right there in the territory of this clearly stands out as being a little bad. I'm
Yeah.
not a huge fan of this. The $30 sentiment still stands D plus.
Okay. We're pretty close in a lot of things. Maybe not everything, but a few things. All right. My note or my type was bourbon. Leaned a little bit towards bourbon here, but I
Love it.
appreciate your strawberry note leaning towards the rye.
Love it.
Secondary grain, I regret this based on what you said, but I said rye, but I should have probably said malty bees because it is very malty. I was questioning if this was a single malt for a little bit. Distillery, I said so there's one random sample in my pool that I've never even tried. Never tried it yet. But it was a Marco and AZ joint that he gave to me. It was a Grand Canyon Distillery option. So proof, I also said 100 proof. Right around there was felt good. Age, I said 2. So a couple years only. Finished, I also said nope. But the bottle, I said Grand Canyon Distillery single barrel bourbon. On
Nice.
my number score, I gave it a 7.8. Probably could have gone lower, but it wasn't like
Yeah.
the worst thing ever. It wasn't worse than last week's, but I also give
Yeah.
this like probably a D plus. Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds about
Yeah.
right.
All right. You ready to reveal?
I am. I got it back here.
Here we go. In the pocket.
1, 2, 3.
Ooh, we are very wrong on a lot of
Oh
things. This is from,
no.
I believe this is from, Madtown Marketer. That's Ben
Wow.
Klepsig, y'all. This is Corsair out of Nashville, Tennessee. This is their Buck Yeah American Malt Whiskey, 46%, 2/3 malted barley, 1/3 buckwheat. We'll be right back. We're going to count the score up. We're going to see how it goes, but we'll be right back to see who wins. All right, we're back. Okay, very interesting pour. Like we said, it was the Corsair Buck Yeah American malt whiskey. It's not an American single malt because there are other grains besides malted barley. But this apparently was about 2/3 malted barley, 1/3 buckwheat. Interesting blend
How did we
here.
not guess that? How did we not
Yeah,
get that?
exactly. How did we not nail that right on the point? So let's go through the points here. So we got the results. I said bourbon. Brian said rye. It is neither. It's not even an American single malt. It has got a secondary grain here. Speaking of secondary grain, Cole said rye. Brian said malty bees. It is buckwheat, which I assume wheat would have made the cut here.
No way,
Uh,
man. No way. Buckwheat
no
or
way.
bust.
Yeah, that's true. I said it was Grand Canyon Distillery. Brian said this was Hard Truth. Neither of us got that either. Proof. We both agreed 100 proof, but yet it was 92 proof. That being said, neither of us got points because you got to be within 5 proof points here. Age, I said 2. Brian said 4. It was a no age statement product. Although they say it's typically 5 to 10 months aged, you have no age statement here. So we both said it was not finished. Hey, we were both right. 2 points for each of us. The bottle guess was Grand Canyon Distillery single barrel bourbon versus Hard Truth chocolate malt. Both were wrong. So we end this season, or not end this season. We
I was going
go
to say,
forward on
what?
this season, another tie. The record this season is 1 win for Cole, 4 ties, and 2 wins for Brian. So Brian's still in the lead. Cole has a chance to take the lead if he wins at least 2 of the next 3.
Oh,
At
that's
least
right.
2 of the next 3.
Yeah.
But we'll see how it goes, guys. But I appreciate all you guys listening, watching, enjoying with us. Anything else you got to say, Brian?
No, I'm just impressed, man. And as I said earlier, the fact that we guess so similarly,
Yeah.
typically, and then
Put this
there's
on the
4
notes.
ties. Like, man,
Yeah.
we're like,
We're
we may
converging.
you may not be winning against the ties, but we're killing it.
Mhm.
We're killing
Yeah. And huge shout. Actually, the funny thing is if I win the next 3, then I will tie with the ties.
it. Yeah, yeah.
So
Oh, that's
huge shout
perfect.
out to Ben friggin' Klepsig
Thank you.
for being a baller and sending us this whiskey. We don't love it, but we love that it was in our pool.
And we
So
love having tried it.
exactly. So thanks, Ben. Thanks, listeners. Thanks, viewers. We will see you next time on the Reentry Buzz. Interesting blend
How did we
here.
not guess that?
We're
How did we not
Yeah,
get that?
exactly. How did we not nail that right on the point?